they'd all say, we'd go to Topsy's and we'd get popcorn.
Okay.
So they had a popcorn store in the mall, and you get 3 flavors. You get caramel or cinnamon or cheese, and I guess they probably had plain, right?
Right.
And that was big time.
Yeah.
Well, our next guest, David Israel, has taken gourmet popcorn to the next level. Welcome again, David. Thanks for coming on. He's got some stuff over here that this is jalapeno, fire corn. We've got, and you're snacking on the
Rogue Blue.
The Rogue Blue. So, David, you're the founder, the president, the chief popper.
I'm the king of pop.
You're the king of pop. So, tell us a little bit. How did you get started? What brought this on? And I know it's only been the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, we kind of came up with the idea a few years ago when I started watching some friends putting items in their popcorn, like hot tamales, and some were putting out M&Ms. I went to a movie one time, and it became on my radar when I was like, gee, this is weird.
We used to do milk duds.
You did? Well, that's what I thought at the movie theater.
Yep, that's right. Because the softens the milk dud.
Okay, and it did. And I was like, okay, I'm watching people do this. This is a great opportunity. I'm going to do something like the Cold Stone Creamery for popcorn.
Right.
So we thought, we would come up with all these great combinations, which we did, and we launched Pop Gourmet. And, we came up with these really great flavors, like, we had one with peanut butter caramel and M&Ms, and we did, different kinds of mix-ins in some of our stuff. So we had a pizza flavor.
Wow.
And it was great, but it really didn't translate well to the consumer on a broad scale. So, and I noticed there's a lot of competition in that space.
There's a lot of popcorn out there.
A lot of candied popcorn, a lot of fun stuff. And there wasn't anything really at a higher level. So we kind of reeled ourselves in and decided that we were going to create a new category, an ultra-premium gourmet, and take it to another level.
Now, what does that mean? Ultra-premium gourmet popcorn. What is that? What, in your definition, how does that work?
We source the highest quality ingredients that we can find from around the world. Our truffle oil comes from Spain. We buy it, by barrels. It comes from Spain.
Why don't you send a little bit of that our way?
It's Oprah's favorite. It's what put us on the map.
Wait a minute. You've been on Oprah?
Well, we've been in the magazine.
And now you're on with Bradley and Michael. What's next?
I know. I'm really going in the right direction. So,
so you did some savory.
We did first we did a lot of candy, and which is just not the arena that we wanted to be in. We reserved a few that still do great, like our chocolate salted caramel is incredible. Our Cascade we did for Alaska Airlines.
What's Cascade? What's in that?
It's white, all natural white Washington cheddar and a caramel. So it's kind of our version of Chicago style.
Wait, so you're in Alaska? You're on an Alaska Airlines? So if I'm having popcorn on my way to L.A., it's yours?
It is, at least for a few more months. Our year runs up in about a month and a half. So we'll see if it gets another year.
Well, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, so they created that together, and they named it and put it on their flights. So
it also looks like you use some local folks too, like the Rogue Creamery.
Yeah, the Rogue Creamery is an international award-winning blue cheese out of Oregon. They're phenomenal. It won the Gold Sophie Award at the Fancy Food Show.
Your popcorn did, not the cheese.
No, our Rogue Blue, which is made only with their Rogue.
That's like the Academy Awards.
It's like the best actor and best movie all at the same time. For your
category, that's kind of so tell us about that one. How did that one get developed?
Well, we were looking for some great brands. As you see, we partnered with Brown & Haley for a great almond roca that we did. And I needed something on the savory side. So we really looked for a cheese that was outstanding. And I met David Gremmels, the CEO of Rogue Creamery, and I pitched it to him. I said, hey, you have a great cheese. I love it. There's nothing like this on the market. Let's do something together. And that was it was over a year ago.
Okay.
And it took a while. He said, hey, I love your products, and we'll do something. But then we found out that it took 50,000 pounds of his international award-winning blue cheese to get 5,000 pounds of a powder that we could use on popcorn. And at $15 or $16,
a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, it was for him. He's like, boy, that's a big step for us. But he finally came around, and it's really taken off. With the awards, they launched it. I did a full launch just recently here with Met Markets and with Zupans in Portland. It's doing just
so you do
everything.
all this in your warehouse in Kent, right?
Yeah, we just moved to a new facility in January. So
what do you do down there? Production, packaging,
everything from A to Z. We do everything ourselves. We want to have control over our product, so we make sure that the consistency is there And when a customer opens up one of our bags, they're going to be 100% satisfied.
So you do all the testing, all the development?
Everything from A to Z.
You know, if you need any help, I think that Greg and Michael and myself would be willing to come down, you know, some Wednesday morning. If you,
well,
yeah, we've got ballots.
This would be fair. You guys can come on down. Greg, I insist that he brings some of his product to help offset.
I mean, could we do a Bordeaux popcorn?
I'm sure we could.
I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Maybe a pairing at the very least. Yeah.
So I mean, but your company's exploding, right, David? I mean, we're talking with David Israel, the chief popper at Pop Gourmet. Who, I mean, how many varieties do you have?
We have about 15 now. Now that we have the ones with the Tom Douglas line launched.
Right. So you partner with Tom on some of his Rub with Love stuff.
Yeah, we did 3 with him. Just launched them about 3 weeks ago.
That's cool.
Yep. And the Fire Corn, which is our actually our patented process, an infused jalapeno popcorn.
Right there. It looks pretty good.
It's very successful. It won Most Innovative Product Award back in May at the Sweet Snack Show. So it's an amazing product, and we're expanding that. Right now we just have the pure natural jalapeno, and we're going to do a white cheddar jalapeno with it. So,
well, I read an article, I think, in the Business Journal that says your sales or your business is going to increase what percentage this year?
About 365% this year.
Ooh, that's pretty strong.
Well, we've been very fortunate. We've had a lot of exposure. You know, we've gone from where I used to, like I said in the journal, I was happy to have Matthews Fifthway put us on their shelf, and now we're approaching 6,000 stores worldwide.
I think that's just wonderful. So
yeah, that's a great story.
So I mean, with all these different flavors, I want to know, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
It's hard, I get
like children, right?
And I eat with whatever I'm eating most of the time. But the white truffle was my favorite. The Road Blue is absolutely, I think it's just an amazing product. And then you'll catch me eating bags of the Fire Corn nonstop. So if you ask me my favorite 2, it would probably be these 9 that are here today.
Okay, what do you think? What's the most popular? I mean, what's your biggest seller?
Chocolate Salted Caramel and Almond Roca are 2 best sellers right now, with Rogue coming in 3rd, and Fire Corn probably the jalapeno, the naturally infused jalapeno popcorn, probably going to surpass them both here in coming October. Yeah. It looks like we're doing a national launch with Kroger with that, so very big sales.
I like this. This is a great bar snack. Maybe we should work a deal and we have this at one of the restaurants. I don't know why we wouldn't.
Well, I can come in and get free apps already. I just got to buy drinks.
I like that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Okay, 2 drinks. So you talked about favorites and the most popular. What do you think? I mean, you mentioned the jalapeno. It's pretty innovative, right?
Yeah, extremely.
I mean, what's the craziest flavor you got? What would you say is just?
There's probably a few that haven't worked.
Well,
tell us a story about that. Tell us about a couple that are on the cutting room floor.
Well, when we first thought about co-branding, I was looking at local companies that I could reach out to, and I reached out to the Bacon Salt guys, and I thought we could do a bacon popcorn.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, well, and it was a growing, very popular category. Bacon was one of the highest rated flavor profiles.
Still hot.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, so we're buying bacon vodka now.
You are.
So, yeah.
Right. So I reached out to them, and they said, okay, we'll do some business. And we launched actually a bacon chocolate caramel. And we did Simply Bacon with bacon salt. And it was one of those products that half the people liked and half the people didn't. And when you have a lineup, you don't want them to buy that one that's not kind of 100% or 80% hit ratio. So we were getting a lot of nice emails and a lot of not so nice emails.
And you got to listen to that stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah,
whether it's an email or a Yelp comment or whatever.
Sure, you have to listen. I mean, it's not your opinion that counts. It's what your customer thinks. Right. Those didn't work very well for us because if someone bought it and they hated it, they weren't buying the rest of your products.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And we wanted to clean up our act. So we wanted to be all natural and gluten-free, non-GMO, and it just wasn't fitting into who we wanted to be as a company as we started branding with all these great, premium brands.
So tell our listeners, where do they find this popcorn?
QFC, Met Market, Safeco, CenturyLink, Uwajimaya.
We're at the ballpark too.
We are. Yeah.
This is big time stuff.
Yeah.
Alaska Airlines, Hudson News.
I like that.
We're even at the ballpark.
I like that. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and the little sellers, I think they have 5 of our wines on the wine list if you're a suite owner.
Oh, for baseball or football or both?
For football, and CenturyLink. And then they have it in they have a wine kiosk on the club level on the east side, and they've got D2 in the Enomatic there, where you can get a glass of D2. And I think it's pretty reasonable. It's like $15 a glass.
You get a bag of gourmet Pop Gourmet.
Yep.
And have a glass of D2 while you're watching, Russell Wilson throw for first downs to Golden Tate. You know,
sounds good to me.
Chocolate salted caramel from Bordeaux would be great.
Yeah.
It would be fabulous.
Is there an online presence? Can we look and find and say, what are my favorite flavors, or we just need to go test them all?
No, you can actually go online to popgourmetpopcorn.com, and we have a full lineup there. You can order. We'll get it to you, or you can pick it up, or we'll direct you to a store.
You know, maybe you should set up a little tasting room like they do out in Woodinville.
We have one, actually.
No
really?
way.
Yeah, we have. It's an outlet, kind of an outlet store. But
tell us about that.
Yeah, we have it in there so people can come in and buy popcorn and taste it. And
Now, is that down in Kent too?
yeah, it's right now, kind of in our front office. Yeah,
Okay.
It's,
So a guy can come in and taste all the varieties.
Yes, you can.
Pick your favorites. So when you're having a popcorn party or a birthday party or something, and you want the best,
We do it all the time.
you
Is
just
there
go
a
in.
tasting fee? Or?
No, well, only if you buy a bag. I mean, we do weddings. We do special bags for weddings. We just did, actually, for the White Truffle, for the launch of Oprah's new movie, The American Butler, we did a special bag for her for the launch of the White Truffle with a nice label of the movie on it. So
That's good stuff. David Israel, the chief popper at Gourmet Pop, is going to be right back with us in the kitchen with Chef Bradley. One more segment. We've got a recipe feature. We've got a wine pairing. We've got a popcorn pairing. Stay with us. We'll be right back. 570 KVI. Good morning to you again. And Greg Lill, thanks for being here from the Lill Cellars.
It's a fun show.
And David Israel, the founder, president, CEO of Pop Gourmet, kind of the king of popcorn around here, right?
yeah, and actually establishing ourselves internationally right now.
I think that's really strong, and it feels good that kind of Seattle kind of comes up with some good stuff that ends up international. I mean, there's a little airplane company that's worked out okay.
Yeah.
A little software company there's that. What's that? Amazon that worked out okay.
We're pretty innovative here.
Seattle
Yeah.
guys,
Little coffee company.
little coffee guy,
Yeah.
And,
It's because we don't have the sun to go sit in all year round.
we get some wine, and
We have to think.
now we got popcorn.
We have to pay for those vacations.
We have to think, right? Yeah.
Well, David, you were telling us a little bit about what makes your popcorn special,
Mhm.
and it's really about the product you start with, right?
It's really our ingredients so that we
Tell us about the corn. I mean, is this all from Iowa? Where do you get popcorn?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it comes from either Nebraska or Iowa,
Okay.
but all of our corns are at a higher level. They are a gourmet version, and they're everything that we do is non-GMO.
Okay,
So-
let's talk about GMO for a minute, because I know that's in the news. That's kind of a big deal.
Big.
And it's important. And a lot of people are on one side or the other, and I'm not going to. I just want to talk about it a little bit. So GMO, genetically modified organism.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So tell us, what do you know about that, and how does that fit into the popcorn business?
Well, I mean, it is a big buzz right now, and people don't want items that are genetically modified. They want natural products.
Right.
So, we as a company made a decision to become non-GMO, which isn't easy in the U.S., by the way. It takes a lot of research.
Especially when you're buying corn in Nebraska and Iowa.
Well, I'll tell you,
right?
Our corn syrup that we use in our caramels, I could not source from the U.S. and get non-GMO. We had to go to Europe and actually Austria, which is where I buy it. And, if you can imagine buying a ton of corn syrup and having it brought here, it's not
That adds to the cost.
big time.
But it keeps it natural.
It's worthwhile. That's what we want in our bags, and that's kind of the commitment we make to our customer.
Okay, so I like that's quality, quality, quality. We talked about the truffle oil, the great blue cheese. I mean, the jalapenos. Do you source all this stuff? I mean, do you have a chef? How do you work this stuff out?
Well, that's another challenge is finding the right products to go in. I mean, you can have a great flavor idea, but then it's the right components. I mean, just when you do a recipe, I'm sure. I mean, you're not just grabbing any tomato to throw on your salad. You want it to be the best, the highest quality you can find. It's the same with us. I mean, it's got to have the right taste, the right feel, the right look. So we do a lot of research. We do it all internally. One of my partners, Sachin Ajith, is none of us have the food background. So we really learned this.
That's interesting because you're in the food business.
Right. But we learned from the ground up, which was not easy, but it probably helped us be better and helped us understand, because we learned it ourselves, and it helped us understand our product and the things that we work with much better. So we know exactly what we're doing. So now it's not as challenging to create a product today as it was, because we have a much better feel for everything.
Sure.
Which corns work with which flavors and which,
See, that's interesting. I would never thought it would be to have a different corn. I just you buy popcorn and then you season it.
No, we use a gourmet white. We use a gourmet gold, which has it's funny, it has a little more flavor to it. And we use what they call a mushroom, which is a round corn that just it has more integrity. So when you do it with a caramel or a chocolate, it holds up a lot better. It doesn't snap.
But here's the deal. Our listeners they don't really need to know that. All they need to know is how tasty this stuff is, right? I mean, just pass the truffle one more time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just delicious. So all natural and
gluten-free, non-GMO.
What's that website again?
All the
gluten-free and non-GMO. Yeah.
What's the website again?
Oh, popgourmetpopcorn.com. And, you know, you got to try our almond roca, our Brown and Haley partnership. It's fabulous.
Okay. I like that. Now, speaking of GMO or non-GMO, we want to talk about a little bit today. We were talking about heirloom tomatoes at the break. You know, right now, you know me, Michael. When do I like my tomatoes? August and September.
Exactly.
I don't want to have tomatoes in May or in February, right? They taste like cardboard.
Well, it's funny. Just last weekend, it was a Sunday afternoon, sitting around the backyard, and my wife's like, "Hey, let's have a little bruschetta tonight. You know, got some tomatoes." And I said, "No, you don't. You've got tomatoes. Let's go get some heirloom tomatoes because right now they're just amazing." And so I made a trip to the store and had some fresh bruschetta. It was great.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I've got a few things in my garden right now, and I don't even know the variety, but they're kind of a large cherry tomato size, kind of purple red. I mean, it looks like a jewel. This thing is so beautiful, and the flavor is sweet, and I mean, it's got a little bit of I'm not even sure how to describe the tomatoey, just the richness. It's so good. And then, of course, I love my little sun golds and, you know, all the other ones. But, you know, when you get heirloom tomatoes going, you know, here's the recipe.
And this summer you can finally do it in Seattle.
That's because we've had sunshine for the last 89 days in a row. So anyway, the recipe I wanted to share today, somebody asked me for this one. We had this actually at a restaurant downtown a couple weeks ago, and so we kind of recreated it. All I did is, you know, a lot of people do mozzarella. Nothing wrong with a little fresh mozzarella or burrata. But actually, I did this little ricotta.
Oh,
so I did a little creamy ricotta. Kind of let it warm up a little bit, so it's not. I mean, not just let it sit out on the counter for half an hour or something, and kind of smear that.
Temperature, right?
Yeah, kind of smear that on the plate. Slice up my heirlooms. Put that over the top. A little basil oil we made, and I'll give you the recipe for that. That'll be on the website at pearlbellevue.com. It'll be on the blog. But we make a infused basil oil, salt and pepper. And the guy says, "Well, don't you need vinegar?" Well, you really don't. You don't need there's enough acid in that tomato. And, the wine guy would probably tell me you don't need the vinegar, right? The vinegar kind of wants to put off the wine.
Not if we're going to have wine with it. No, we want to pass on that one.
We're probably going to have wine with this, Greg. Now, if I'm having a little simple tomato salad with some fresh, with a nice little ricotta, what kind of wines, maybe something from DeLille. What would you recommend?
From DeLille, I think we make a little white wine called Doyen Roussan. Doyen is kind of our line of wines, which are more Rhone-style, Provence-style wines, and Roussan is a great variety, just like Chardonnay or Merlot or Cabernet. And this is 100% Roussan, and it's very different than our other white wine. We make the Chaleur State Blanc, which is a white Bordeaux-style Sauvignon Blanc Semillon, which is more of a richer style. This Roussan is real bright and crisp, and I kind of call it our hot day on the deck white wine that we make.
Oh, yeah, that's
everybody needs one of those.
Yeah, that and also nothing. When I think of having a little bit of, heirloom tomato and mozzarella, and I'm thinking of when I'm in Europe, and, what do we do when we're in the south of France and Europe with that dish? We're drinking rosé. And at DeLille, we even made a little bit of rosé these last few years. And again, sorry, it just sold out. But
wait a minute. Why do you keep telling us that?
Well, you've got
to get to DeLille cellars when it's available.
You got to get in early. But yeah, everybody's loving rosé, and I'm seeing it in a lot of restaurants. I'm seeing people out drinking, rosé, and this is not that white Zinfandel stuff that you've seen from California in the past. This is real rosé. We make ours in a style that's truly made to be a rosé wine. We bring in the grapes to make rosé. It's not Saignée, which is bled off from another red varietal that you might have in the cellar. So it's a true rosé. Typically, it's not 100% all the time, but anytime I see a rosé that's more of that salmon color instead of that pinky ruby-ish color, that salmony color is kind of usually a good giveaway. That's a better rosé.
Okay, so now where are these grapes coming from for your rosés?
Eastern Washington, mostly from Jim Holmes is where we get our Grenache. It's a little bit of Mourvedre, a little Cinsault in the blend. So Dick Boucher and Jim Holmes, so Red Mountain and a little bit of Prosser.
So those names all kind of ring a bell in the wine business, right?
Yeah.
And now, real quick on the rosé, and I'm not the expert. That's why I have you on to kind of teach us a thing or two. The rosé doesn't sit. I mean, how long does that Does that need to sit in the bottle, or does that?
No, it's really something you want to drink when it's fresh. It's something where we bottle it probably in April, and we drink it. We release it in early June. Like I said, just sold out literally like last week, and it's something you want to drink fresh. It doesn't go bad after a year or two, but it kind of just loses a little bit of that vibrancy.
Right. So when it's young, and that's as good as it's going to get, right?
Yep.
As opposed to some of the other wines where you want to lay them down for a while.
That's right. When you get your bigger reds, those who want to lay them down. I always tell people when we're releasing the D2 or the Schiller Estate or the Harrison Hill, the Grand Ciel Cab, I always tell people, at release, I say, this is the worst it's ever going to taste.
Okay.
Right.
It's only going to get better.
Only going to get better.
I like
only going to get better.
See, the produce guys, we had the guys in from Charlie's Produce, and they were telling us about the produce, and they said it's only going to get worse because their stuff is so fresh, right? That's the way they want it. It's a different deal with the wine. So, what else would be a great wine, a summertime wine? Maybe we're doing some grilling, maybe a little barbecue.
I don't know if it's summer, but AIX, I like that one.
Yeah, the Doyen AIX, which is a Syrah Cabernet blend that we make. Again, kind of that Provence style. My red wines in the summertime, even if you're grilling, even moving a little bit to the lighter style. Some of the Syrahs, some are heavy, some are lighter, or maybe a bigger Pinot. You can get Pinot Noir in different styles. And if you can find one of the styles that's more of that bigger, thicker style, just in the summertime on the palate, I just think it's fresher and it's
easy to go. I mean, we've got warm days, but it's starting to cool a little bit in the evening now, right? So that starts to lend itself to a little different wine style. If you're barbecuing or having that bruschetta on the heirlooms, and so that's all good stuff. What else we got going on? Michael, any other things you want to share with us? Washington Wine Month. You want to one more time? What's going on at Coral this month?
Well, we're doing
happy hour.
A little happy hour special. It's buy 2 happy hour drinks, get an appetizer free. So.
You cannot beat that.
Yeah. Well, the whatever you're in the mood for as far as the cocktail goes, half-price wines, half-price specialty drinks, and a couple dollars off beer. Yeah, the specialty drinks. By the way, we just got those. We were talking about those Pence peaches from Wapata. I heard you and Rashad were working on. Yeah, we did a little peach mojito today that I think is on the menu now, and you might want to give that a shot. Okay. If you're not having a glass of wine or one of those cold beers, try the peach mojito with fresh Washington peaches. You can't beat it. Maybe,
How come I'm the only one that brought samples?
Yeah. We've got to do that for next week. And so we've got that going on. I want to thank Greg Lill for coming on and telling us a little bit about your stuff and everything going on at DeLille Cellars. Oh, thanks for having us here, and it's great to be here. And I just want to do a little shout-out, too, for the Auction of Washington Wines that's coming up here. Right around the corner. August 15th to the 17th. I think one of the best events for the consumer is that Thursday the 15th, the picnic at Chateau Saint Michel from like 4 o'clock to 8. That's wonderful. That's great. And David Israel, thank you for coming on, teaching us all about popcorn and what you've got going on. Look for Michael and I at Pearl or Coral in Bellevue, and coralbellevue.com, pearlbellevue.com, where we'll post the recipes and a link to your stuff. And that's what we got for the day. In the Kitchen with Chef Bradley, 570 KVI. We'll talk to you next week. Oh, by the way, a little shout-out. Next week, we're going to have a little Boeing Classic news coming up, so we'll share that on the show. See you next week. In the Kitchen with Chef Bradley Dickinson. In the Kitchen with Chef Bradley Dickinson. Every Saturday morning at 11.